Hey, how's it going?
Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Hey, good. How about you, Steven?
I'm good, man. Thanks.
Good. Yeah. Hey, thanks for joining. You're the first one to hop in.
Oh, yeah. Punctuality for me is a big thing.
Yeah, yeah. All right, cool.
Oh,
I'm gonna let some
sick
other folks
background, by
in.
the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, cool. Welcome in, Dylan. I think I've got this scheduled for 2 hours. So I figure this is the first time doing this type of call. And I just kind of want to keep it like an open forum type conversation. I don't know how many people are going to end up joining. So I figured as people join in, they can just pick up and we can just start chatting about whatever. If you guys have any questions, feel free to fire away.
Um, so I suppose great question is as somebody that's just growing their social media presence and somebody that's just building up their business. I've just left HND in photography, so I'm at the moment at the point where I'm building up the social media and building up a reputation locally. So I'm just wondering if you have any advice on how to gain momentum. So when I'm posting regularly on the social medias, I've noticed that there's some engagement, some reels and stuff like that. I've been getting a couple of thousand views and then it drops off to maybe a couple of hundred. I don't have a huge following, at 345 the last time I checked. So it's for me, it's the hardest thing that I've been processing is not shooting photos. It's actually recording reels and stuff like that. So I would like to move more into the education space of teaching photography, and I'm not sure how's the best way to go about it and how to engage the audience and make sure that content I'm creating is engaging for them and is something that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind sharing me your handle to your Instagram? Let
Yeah,
me find
so
out where my chat went.
I'll just grab that quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
Profile, jump back into Zoom.
Oh, there's my chat. Okay, cool. I was like, where in the world did it go? Here we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a look at yours real quick,
Yeah, of course.
and here I'll go ahead and
So I'm just gonna.
I'll drop you a follow there, so that way I can keep up on it. So you're trying to get more into the educational space with photography specifically. Sounds
Yes,
like.
yeah. I do a lot of because of the one of the biggest problems that I have at the moment is the car. I do a lot of automotive photography, but I also do wildlife and landscapes as well. But because of geographically where I live, the car scene sort of died down because I'm in Scotland. So the weather prohibits a lot of outdoor events and stuff like that. And we only have one racetrack here in Scotland, so it proves quite difficult to upkeep automotive content. So, but the problem is that I have a lot to teach on that. So I know how to go into businesses, go business to business, how to set up rapport with the business and show them the angles and stuff like that that's better. And also them showing them the power of social media. So what I want to do is leverage that into showing also people online how to go about doing that. And the issue is that obviously I could show them how to go into a car dealership and teach them how to go into a car dealership and use a retainer client as that. But it's harder to then show them how you do private shoots and stuff like that when everybody's just the last automotive shows just really closed up. And a lot of the people that I'm talking to in the space that have the cars and stuff that are wanting the shoots, everything's going back in the garages and it'll come out in like March 2025, which is quite a long time for content to be there just left. So my problem is that I don't want to go down the route of serving a community, which a lot of my followers really engage a lot more. I've seen that the engagement's a lot more in the automotive than the wildlife and stuff. So there is a real feed there for it. It's just that's a big problem at the moment. So I'm not sure how to gauge that or how to really deal with that. And I'm sure there's other creators around the world that have a similar problem.
Yeah, I have a similar problem as well. So our season for cars ends at the end of October, and people typically start putting their cars up for storage then. What I have been able to do personally is backlog a lot of work to where it can usually carry me through the winter. Obviously, if you're just now starting out, you're not necessarily at the point where you have a lot of backlogged work. I think there is a lot of value in going to local dealerships and taking photos of their cars, say in the showrooms, and potentially landing retainer clients, but also because your account is still fairly small, you have the luxury of being able to experiment with the kind of things that you want to do. I think that with automotive photography, there's so many transferable tips and tricks that you can spread across other types of photography, including wildlife. So even if it's just you simply doing talking head videos where you give like tips on the angles, the compositions, or maybe you're giving tips on editing, there's definitely a lot of people who are interested in understanding how other people edit. So I don't think it's out of the question. As far as working the dealerships and showing how to get retainer clients, that will target a different type of crowd within the photography space, because a lot of people are interested in, doing photography as a business. So it's like, how do I get paid to be a photographer? And I'm sure you're probably familiar with Ben Hargreaves, Life Through Optics. You've probably seen him do that a lot. I mean, he would go into dealerships super early on in his journey and just take pictures of cars at the showroom floor. That also gives you the opportunity to network with those people too, because like you said, most people are going to put the cars up for the season. However, if you have a network built up and they're like, hey, once the winter season has passed, I want to book a shoot with you. Then you start getting that client list built up, and then you can start going out as soon as possible. I also don't know if you have friends or family that might have cars that you can photograph to help illustrate the types of tips and tricks that you're going to be talking about. That's what I've personally done. I have a car that I'm able to take out and shoot whenever I want. So I don't care if I drive it out in the winter. But if you don't have a car like that. Okay, so if you have a car like that, or if like your friends have it, I think the context of the content itself is what people care about the most, not necessarily what car it is that you're shooting. So if you take your car out to go shoot it and you're teaching them how to compose a shot, how to angle the car, lighting, stuff like that, I would do that first and try and use your car or friends and family's cars as your subject. And then that way you're building that reputation with your audience. And then the people in your local community, you can start shooting for once the season starts back up. I don't think you're going to have an issue with sharing a little bit of everything, because all in all, photography as an art is great. If you want to focus more on automotive photography and just kind of ditch sharing the wildlife photography on your page, there's nothing wrong with that. But you have the ability to explore and experiment. Whereas a more established account, if you've built it on the premise of I only show automotive photography, if you try doing something different, it's going to be like starting out brand new, because people are not expecting you to post something like wildlife or landscapes. So I would use what you have available to you. I think you, your friends, if they got cars, and then dealerships. Those are great ways to do it. Also, I don't know, what kind of cadence are you looking for when it comes to posting?
So sort of cadence.
So how often are you wanting to post?
So what I'm aiming to do is so I've set myself a challenge. The next 100 days is post 100 pieces of content in the next 100 days. And that way it gets up the consistency of building it. So one of the biggest issues that I found coming out of being taught in an educational base is very different from how it works out in the real world. So what I want to be able to do is get into the muscle memory of video editing, creating reels, making sure that they're concise, simple, easy to follow. A lot like, I really relate to, you mentioned Ben, his content. So it's something similar along the lines of teaching people. I really want to be open and transparent about the gear that I use, the editing, the tools and things like that I'm using. That way, the more value they get, like the more that they're going to represent around. So that obviously what I'm looking to do is get as much content that I can build a community, so that then that community can then engage with me, and so that it can be so I'm not just looking to do Instagram, I'm looking to move over into YouTube as well, so that using all of these to leverage really over and under, so that I can create an industry, a community around that, and sort of then teach people. Again, the main goal is to then take people in and teach them how to do that, build up a business, and once I've built up a business of my own, to then replicate that into a course and then show them the step-by-step foundations of exactly how I done that and take them through that, whether that's weekly calls or a cohort like you're doing, would definitely be something that I'm aiming for later down the line. So having the clear vision of what I want the business to look like, what the steps that I need to do are really important to me. So again, don't have any, because I'm trained in video photography, I'm finding videography quite a struggle. And to be honest, not coming from an editorial background and getting up to speed with the fact that everybody does video these days. And it's a key component to social media and really businesses as well. So it's about making sure that I deliver on high quality content, keeping it concise and making sure that I keep the processes simplified as well. So I want to remove as much barriers to what's creating content and just have it as simplified as possible. So I believe in having systems. I'm speaking to people that have done that. Learning off them is definitely going to be a really key place. When you were talking about, like I mentioned, like sharing templates and stuff like that. For me, I seen that you posted that you have free templates and stuff like that. So I've also added and created stuff like that. It's been beneficial to me to be able to go and save time, having templates, having resources that I can access quickly in order to make the content move on, and so that I can focus on the quality rather than, oh, I need to create this. I need to go back and start from scratch, building each part of it, as opposed to, right, I'm to spend X amount of days creating a reel or something like that. So that's sort of the thinking behind, to be honest, what I think would be beneficial to other creators, because if I'm facing these barriers, I'm sure other people are facing them as well.
Yeah, I'm by no means a videographer expert. I think the route that you're thinking of is the right idea of keeping things simple. And honestly, when you start making these videos, even if you're just using like your phone, a lot of people start off with your phone, but you want to make it as frictionless as possible, because the more complexity you make your process starting out, the more likely it is that you're going to fall off and decide that it's not for you. So, when you go to make a YouTube video, for instance, I filmed a couple of mine on my iPhone just to try it out and see what it was like. And it was so much easier to just film on your iPhone. You don't have to do like color grading or anything fancy. Just film on your iPhone. Again, the context of the content itself is what people care about the most. And then you just chop it up on an editor and then you throw it up on YouTube. And then what you can do from that, if you have a long form video where you're sharing a whole slew of different tips and tricks, you can chop that up and then redistribute it onto your socials. I've personally done that a couple of times. If you've seen any of my Talking Head stuff, that's what I did. I just took my YouTube video, I found good parts in there, and I chopped it up. And then it gave me, from one video, it gave me about a week's worth of content. And then for every photo shoot I do, like when I go and shoot a car, I usually get about 5 to 7 days worth of content from just that alone. So I really only have to go out and shoot 1 day a week, and then I can chop that up and then use it for an entire week of content. So for the other stuff too, like creating these templates, and you see that these struggles and this issue as a creator starting out, you can start offering what I like to call sawdust to your viewers. So like the templates, if you want to add it for free, or if you want to have some sort of preset for video or for photos, you can offer that kind of stuff for free, like as like a little entry thing. And then you can also convert that into a paid object that can eventually help you get clients in the future when you start doing like your course material. But everything that you're struggling with right now, other people are struggling with as well. And there's actually people who are a few steps behind you. So the things that you're going to be doing now and you're learning, if you're documenting that as you're learning, then other people who are following in your footsteps are going to start learning from you in the time that they're struggling with the same thing you're struggling with now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that you have a really good opportunity there, though. I would say if you're trying to do YouTube and Instagram at the same time to save yourself time, I would try do one long video and then break it up into short videos for Instagram. It'll probably save you a lot of time so you don't have to re-record things. But I don't know if that would be something of interest to you or if you've had other thoughts around it, but that's what I would suggest.
Yeah, it's certainly something that I thought about, and I know that there's a lot of programs and stuff out there as well that can chop it up for you as well, that just half the time and stuff like that as well. Just obviously I would rewatch it, make sure that it's taking the key content, stuff like that. Obviously with YouTube, I'm aware of vidIQ and stuff like that, so I make sure that all that sort of stuff is taken care of. So I've not taken into the business side of it. So I'm part of the Think Media's VRA as well. So they're a private community for YouTube and stuff like that, and using vidIQ. So I've got a good support system that I can sort of bounce ideas back to about YouTube. So again, for me, it was about positioning myself into understanding the photography and understanding how to teach it and making it as frictionless as possible, because I think there's a big barrier to entry that I think a lot of beginners don't really realise, or they maybe think it's more complicated than it really is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And when it comes to teaching photography, I mean, if you show people how you do it, that's still teaching them. You don't have to get super technical and, go through like, well, if you do this step, then this step, you get this result. You can just show people your process. And that's why documenting is usually the best way to do it, rather than trying to script something up and show it off. But yeah, I mean, and what you can also do too, if you want, for people looking at getting started in photography, you can look at other creators that you personally follow. And if you need ideas for content, read the comment section, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram, and see what kind of questions people are asking. And if there's a way that you can answer that for them, because they're likely not getting answered by the people that you're looking at, you can start writing those down as content ideas, and you can create those videos for those questions. Because usually that's what a lot of people have. It's usually a question about gear, it's a question about lighting, settings, etc. Those would be really good opportunities for you to jump in and say, hey, I can make a video about that. Here's how I do it. Seeing how somebody else does it helps people go out and do it themselves too sometimes. So I hope that helped. Yeah, I hope that gave you some ideas. It sounds like you've thought through this very well. So I have no doubt in my mind that you'll be able to do just fine. I would say for the consistency, I think 100 pieces of content, 100 days is a great way to start. It doesn't sound like it's going to be overbearing for yourself, because a lot of people think you have to post every single day on Instagram. You don't necessarily have to. I've had conversations with people from Instagram themselves, and they said like 3 to 5 times per week is kind of like the barrier that you should be posting at. When you do post reels, I always recommend try to mix in a little bit of carousel posts to show off your work, so that way the people who do follow you get to see your work. I know that does add a little bit of complexity to your process, but that can also help with your 100 pieces of content, because all you would need at that point is 50 days worth of reels and then 50 days worth of carousels.
Yeah.
Which for me, it works out because I show the photos on screen and then I post the carousels right after.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
If you have any other questions, let me know.
Thanks.
Yeah. Dylan, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Thanks. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, because I've been thinking about this lately, and I know that what initially attracted me to your page was that you did this while you did the building of the Instagram while you had a full-time job. And I'm a full-time student, and I'm trying to take this seriously, but keep it fun at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to, because it initially started out as just like a hobby. And it's just something I want to build to the point of where I can make some money on it. It's not like something I want to exclusively spin off into a business, because I plan on going into the engineering field after. But I still kind of want to build this and build it as like a second like income stream. You know what I'm saying? Because like I feel like that's a good tool, because if I'm making content with it, I'm having fun, like might as well take advantage of that. So I just want to know your thoughts on that, like having a full-time like occupation while doing your content. Like, what are some of the things that you struggle through, and like some suggestions that you have for like planning out content?
That's a great question. To be honest, I think having a full-time job not on the side, but having a full-time job while you're doing this on the side gives you the least amount of stress when it comes to content creation. Because I've seen people who will leave a full-time job in order to pursue content creation and end up failing or end up too stressed to work because they're not making an income. And my rule of thumb has always been to not leave a job unless I have another one that can sustain myself. And so that way I'm never in a financial position where I can't pay my bills. Like I have a house, I can't not pay my bills. I think also gives you a sense of like, it's a safety net but then also gives you a sense of carefreeness. Because when you do photography as a hobby and then you turn it into a job, it no longer feels fun, if that makes sense. So once you're stressing about making money off of it because it's your livelihood, you're more likely going to dislike it and become jaded. And then you're going to become desperate in some cases, like I'll just do whatever it takes to make money. So I think building it on the side is a really good idea. Most people who build side hustles or build entrepreneurial businesses on the side usually end up faring better because they have a way to sustain themselves personally with their own day jobs. And then you're not as hard pressed to make that money on the side. Some of the struggles I deal with is time management. But like I said, when I was talking to Steven, was I shoot 1 day a week. And I actually haven't shot a private shoot in over a month. And the way that I'm able to sustain that is because when I go and I make my content, I usually make a lot of content early on. And then for periods like this where I'm not filming or taking photographs, I can use what I have in my backlog. I think that has helped me a lot, having a backlog of work, but it's also helped me when it comes to posting regularly because I get more regular clients coming in. The more that you post and the more that you get discovered, the more likely you're gonna have people organically coming to you. And a lot of people that come to me and ask for photos are from my local community. And I tell them all the time, I shoot on Saturdays. I usually do 1 to 2 hours for a shoot. And then it takes me a few weeks to get you those photos. And as long as I communicate to them, like I got a full-time job, I have a kid, I have a house to take care of, people are usually understanding. When money exchanges hands, it becomes more stressful on you because now you have a set expectation, like I gotta get them these photos quickly. As far as like delegating time throughout the week, I always do my work like at home. I work from home, so I have the luxury of being able to do both my job and work a little bit on content, but I always give myself a couple hours each night to work on my content. But I try not to do it too much because there's other things to life than just work. So it is definitely a struggle. There's no perfect balance. As much as I like to say like the work-life balance is, there is a good one, it's not always perfect. There's some days I don't do any content creation at all. And there's other days where I do like 5 hours worth of editing. So it's really just kind of finding what works best for you. And as a student, you're probably, neck deep in tests and exams and homework assignments. Like I didn't go to school for mechanical engineering, but it definitely eats up a lot of your time. And when it comes to a full-time job, it gets a little bit easier depending on what kind of job you have. Because like when I was in school, I felt like I was busy all the time, but at a day job like I have now, it's like, oh, some days are pretty chill. So if you take advantage of that and you focus on the things that matter the most, that's going to push you forward, whether it's in your career or in your content creation, cut out all the busy stuff, the stuff that doesn't really do anything, that will definitely save you a lot of time too. There's prioritization methods you can use. My favorite one that you can look up, it's called the Big Rock method. And basically it's just this jar with a bunch of rocks. There's big rocks, medium rocks, or like little rocks and gravel. And it's basically an exercise, like how can you fit all this into the jar? And it teaches you about time management and prioritizing your tasks. So I recommend looking up methods to where you can look at your days as a student and then say like, hey, I have to do this, this, and this for my schooling. I want to do this, this, and this for my photography or my content creation. And just focus on those big tasks throughout the day.
Yeah, because being a student, I'll have my big rocks be anything academic based, just like, so I can have my degree in like a timely manner. And then I'll just do the other things on the side. Exactly what you said, that it's less pressure on me since I'm doing this on the side and I'm just doing it for fun. And another question that I had is getting like organic clients. Like, I'm not sure, I've been kind of tiptoeing around whether free shoots or just getting paying clients and charging up front. I just don't really know how to navigate that realm very well. So if you have anything on that.
Everybody's different. Everybody's situation is going to be very different. I recommend starting out free. And the reason being is because when you start out free, you are more likely to get clients up front. You're just starting out on this journey and you need to build a portfolio because your portfolio is what you're going to use to leverage to get paid clients in the future. Now, if you start out doing stuff free, you can start with friends, family, coworkers, students in your class, whomever. You can go to a local car event community or car events in your local community, and you can start networking there and just say, hey, I'm starting out on this photography journey and I love your car. I love the opportunity to shoot your car. If you have work currently, you can show them some of your work that you currently have. And then if they ask you like, oh, well, how much do you charge? And then you just say, hey, I'll do it for free just so that way I get that experience. Typically, if I approach somebody to take photos of their car, I will do it for free because I want to shoot their car. I want to have that in my portfolio. I want to have that content with them, etc. Now, you can do this for however long you see fit. If you say, all right, I'm going to do a month or two of free shoots, but then I'm going to start charging, then you can start from there, like how much do you want to charge per shoot? Because obviously like your resources, your time, your gas, your equipment, your software, like that all costs money. So you don't have to do it for free forever. But I think starting out, get yourself a few clients underneath your belt, give them the same kind of experience that you would give a paid client, like top of the line experience, high quality photos, and just professional service all around. They're gonna be surprised that you did it for free, or they're gonna be like, hey man, like I've got this buddy who would love photos of their car, and they'll refer you to them, or they'll have their friend reach out to you. 99% of the time when people reach out to me, they don't know I do photo shoots for free. So whenever somebody slides into my Instagram DMs, it's like, hey man, like I'm in the Indianapolis area, I'd love to set up a shoot with you sometime. Be like, great. And then they'll ask me how much it is, because they never know. When you post more on social media as well, you'll more likely be discovered by people in your local community, and you'll get organic reach that way and organic clients that way. So it's kind of a 2-1 punch. When you do free shoots, you get content that can help get you organic clients, but you also build a client list that can then also refer you to other people. So you kind of get both at the same time. And all of my clients in the last year have been organic. I started off shooting my own cars. I shot my brother's car and I shot a couple of my friends' cars, and that was it. From there, people started coming to me. And that took about 3 months. So if you're consistent enough and you start posting more often, obviously reels are gonna be your biggest growth tool. You're gonna get more people coming to you. Now, the fastest way to get that started though, again, friends, family, local events. If it's too hard to find a local event, find people that you know who like cars and just be like, hey man, is there like a car meet going on? Is there a cars and coffee? Whatever function exists. And then once you get into one, network with people, and they'll probably be like, hey, look, there's another one down the street here, or there's one in the town over. It's really easy to find events doing it that way.
Yeah, because I have been doing the free stuff, and to be honest, it's been giving me a lot of opportunities. Like I've worked with a drift driver, which I never even thought I would be working with.
Nice.
And I could leverage that because I gave him my entire everything that had him in the photos for free. So I could leverage that to possibly getting media passes for the event and getting even more clients that way. Because if they see me doing the media, then they're gonna be like, oh, you how much is for your services? And like you said, they don't even know that you did it for free.
Yeah, and I think having that client is big because there's probably other drivers that they could refer you to, and you could just ask them. It's like, hey man, thank you so much for letting me shoot your car. I'm looking to do more of this kind of work. Do you have anybody else that would be interested in my services? And obviously, if you provided them with great service, the cost of being free or paid, it doesn't matter. As long as you're providing them great service, they'll likely refer you. Word of mouth marketing is still very powerful, and I feel like not enough people do it or take advantage of it. So I think that right there is a really good opportunity for you to leverage. And as far as getting media passes, I don't know what it's like in your area, but hopefully that can get you into some sort of event and get you more exposure.
All right. So one more question. I've been struggling with trying to create reels because sometimes I get writer's block or video editor's block on just what to create. And you've mentioned about going into comment sections and figuring out what people want, which is pretty good. And I'm probably going to start implementing that. But do you have any other tips for real content creation?
You can use, a lot of people have been using ChatGPT to kind of generate ideas. Stephen was mentioning earlier vidIQ, that's for YouTube. I personally use that as well. But you can go onto ChatGPT. There are prompts that you can use where it's identify pain points for people in photography. And it can give you some ideas. I do have a prompt or two that I can share after this call where you can literally just copy and paste it into ChatGTP and it'll give you like a table worth of content. It generates like 25 ideas. So like you can use stuff like that, but you pick and choose wisely because AI isn't necessarily the most accurate when it comes to things. So do that, but also reflect on your own experiences. Like Steven was mentioning earlier, he has a lot of barriers that he has to get through as a creator. There are barriers that you also have gone through that you may not remember right off the top of your head, but reflect on what your experiences are like in the past when you're starting out with photography. Like you didn't know how to use your camera when you first picked it up, I'm pretty sure. You can make content around how to set up your camera properly. You can set up, or you can have your video be about like what settings to use for specific situations. Like what settings should you use when you're photographing a drifting car or a moving vehicle? What settings do you want to have set up for capturing broad daylight or nighttime? There's different things, different aspects of the process that you can make videos on. So I would reflect on your own, and then I would also use tools to help streamline ideation like ChatGTP, and then just kind of go from there. Because eventually you won't need that, like the whole AI tool. You can start coming up with things on your own because your community will come to you and ask you questions directly. And then if you have a community size that's fairly large, ask them. Put a ask me anything on your story, or if you have the ability to create a broadcast channel, invite people to it, use that to crowdsource ideas. In fact, I did the same thing. I asked people when I was at the racetrack this weekend, give me some questions to answer while I'm here so I can, feature it in a video. And I got, I don't know, maybe 5 questions, but that's 5 topics now I can talk about in my video.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah. And then Dylan, do you mind sending me your Instagram as well so I can take a look at your stuff?
Yeah, I don't have the link, but I'll just put the handle in chat.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to start following everybody so I can keep an eye on your guys' content and see how it's going.
There it is.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for the questions. Hopefully, I provided good answers. So
thank you. Very much.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, you got some good stuff on here.
Thank you.
Are you getting more into like the graphic design aspect of things?
Yeah, because I feel like that's like my personal style. Like, how many photographers, they just have that certain look. And like having that graphic design, I call it like a cover page. So it's like a magazine cover. So I'm just using that as a way to like differentiate myself and like build up my identity in the community.
Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. You put your own twist on it.
Yes.
Awesome, man. Well, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, Liam, you're up.
Hey, what's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, Dylan took my last question. That was my main one. But my other one is workflow. That's like my main struggle right now. Like I can get people to shoot free or paid. It's really just how long it takes me to get people work and my just general workflow, like at all. Like I'm just really bad with it, I feel like.
So when you talk about your workflow, you're talking about like when you put your SD card in the computer.
Yeah, I get home and I sit down on my computer. From then on, it's just like I feel like there's no flow at all. Like there's no like plan. It's just like I just get into it and it's like it could be that night everything's done or 4 weeks someone gets their photos, and it's just like I just struggle with like trying to find a cohesive like plan to go into it every time with, and that's my main thing.
So when you are so you work a full-time job, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay. Understandably, jobs, life gets in the way and stuff like that. I think what's really important excuse me, this is a bad time to drink seltzer water. What a really good exercise people should probably be doing is time blocking their days so they have a set time to do work. You don't have to do work every single day to get these photos to your clients or to get content out if that doesn't fit your lifestyle. I would suggest like have a calendar, like use Google Calendar at the very least, and just set yourself a time block, whether it be 1 day a week, a couple days a week, or every day, whatever works for you. And just say, during this time, I'm only going to edit photos or I'm only going to edit videos, nothing else. And you can do that just as an exercise because then you're setting yourself up to become more disciplined and getting your work done. For me personally, I have my setup very simple. I have a block for personal time. I have a block for my day job, and I have a block for my creative work. And you can keep it very broad. And it doesn't matter what it is that you do during that time. It's just during this time, I'm only focused on this one broad subject. And then set yourself the expectation privately to say, I'm going to get these photos for this client done by end of week. If you give yourself a shorter time frame, it really tricks the brain into working more than if you say, oh, well, there's no expectation to get these photos out to my client in the next month, so I can just wait until the last second. But if you say, no, I have to get it done by end of week or by end of day, then it's like, okay, I'm on overdrive. I'm going to get this stuff done. It's a little bit of a mind trick that I've learned personally from a book I listened to called The 4-Hour Workweek. Very good book. It really teaches you like life hacks and how to reduce the amount of work that you do, or like it condenses it into like a certain amount of hours. And that was one of them. Like if you give yourself a timeline, you will definitely get the work done. You can track timelines if you want on a software like Notion, or like, Notion's free. You can do like a task list. You can have due dates. It can send you notifications if you want to get fancy with it. Or you can just start off with
you might hear my dog barking.
That's okay. Or you can just start off with like a calendar and say, hey, I have this done by end of day or end of week. The discipline will come the more that you do it. Because if you do it consistently, you go through the motion, you're going to be doing it no problem. I would say in a couple of weeks, you'll be better at it. As far as like a workflow from like getting the SD card into your computer and then into Lightroom or whatever, first off, definitely dump your photos right when you get home.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people have had issues with that, but start going through your images right away. Just spend 10, 15 minutes to start scrolling through your photos and cull them. Culling is just like picking the ones that you want, get rid of the ones that you don't want. The way that I do it is I use the Z and X keys for Lightroom. X is reject, Z is keep. And then I just go through all my images and I just hit that button. It'll gray out the ones that you reject. And then the ones that you keep, you can filter it to where you only see those images. If you just spend 10, 15 minutes from the time that you get home and put that card in there and go through that one exercise, you're already making progress. And then from there, I do the rating system. So once I've edited a photo and it's completely finished, I'll click 5 to give it a 5-star rating. So now I know that photo is done. And you just go through them one by one. Presets will also save you a lot of time. So if you use the same kind of editing style, you can create a preset and you can apply that basic edit to all of your images. It's very easy to create your own preset. I would just use those. It will save you a lot of time. I've actually recently started redesigning my presets to include selective masks. So that way when I go to an image, it's already selecting my car. It's already giving me my radial gradients. It's already giving me my linear gradients and the positions that I want them in. And then I just do the fine-tune adjustments for the image itself. I can knock out 100 images in a day if I wanted to, if I just sat down and did it for a couple hours. But yeah, start off easy, start off small. Just start going through your images. Give yourself 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes if you want to, and just do a little bit of culling. And then set yourself a time block, at least 1 day a week, and say, I'm going to do work during this time. Nothing else matters.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, try it out. I mean, everybody's different.
And then my other question was about how to get into, I want to eventually get into video, but mainly like, how do I start doing reels? Like that's what I don't understand at all. Like
what part of reels do you not understand?
I don't know. I just like finding like an idea for one, or just like, even just like the general editing process. Like I just have no real like idea for it.
So for ideas, you can do trend hopping. So if you see like somebody do a trend with like audio, or maybe you're filming one of the cars that you're shooting, like the R35 GTR. If you have like a clip of you shooting that, you can use that, use some basic editing tools like CapCut. It's a free app that you can use to edit from your phone directly if you wanted to. A lot of people use that. I would honestly start off getting some B-roll footage of you shooting cars, whether it's you filming it, like you just hold up your phone, you're filming the car that you're shooting, or maybe you got a buddy with you that can film you from a third person perspective, and you can start using that kind of footage to do the trend stuff. Trend hopping is usually not sustainable though, because there's no there's no like personal touch to it, and you're just going to be kind of like this faceless page with no personality. Then the other part of it, like I was mentioning earlier, documenting your process. So if you're shooting a car and you're having conversations with people, you can film it with your phone. You can get a phone mount strapped to your chest, or you can get, if you have a GoPro, use a GoPro. That's pretty easy. And then just have conversations with the people that you're shooting with, and then just post stuff like that, kind of like a vlog on your reels. That's obviously my style, but it's not my alone. A lot of people do that, and just figure out how you can implement that in a reel. I mean, you don't have to get super specific. Like, you don't have to be super educational. There's 3 different pillars of content. There's education, entertainment, and inspiration. So if you're hitting any of those 3 pillars, then you're fine. Even if it's just entertainment. Like, maybe you're having a candid conversation with the person you're shooting for. That's entertainment. Maybe one of the cars that you're shooting, like the M4 that you're shooting, maybe they do a burnout. I don't know. But something that hits one of those 3 pillars, that's what you can base it off of. Also, like I mentioned earlier too, if you want to get more specific and have like a more structured idea, you can use tools like ChatGPT and say like, hey, give me some ideas for automotive photography content. Steal people's ideas too. Steal mine. Steal Ben's if you follow Ben. Steal any other automotive photographer you follow. Steal like an artist. Please do it. I stole from Ben a lot, and he knows it. And sometimes I joke with him about it whenever I talk to him. Like, hey man, I really love this reel that you did, so I did it myself. So please do it, because people like myself have laid out the groundwork for you. And if you look at my videos and you see one that performed really well, just replicate it. Put your own spin on it. Don't do it word for word or like tit for tat. Like, actually put your own spin on it, but use us as like inspiration.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel bad for Ben. I steal a lot of his stuff, but that's okay. He knows.
It's funny you should say that. I was just talking to him last night about, I was saying to us just about steal like an artist. He's like, yeah, just replica. He says, you're just take out your phone of your like today I was out with a client, tomorrow I'm shooting a car, so I'm going to be, my 100 days content is, it'll be like, tomorrow I plan to smash out at least 20 odd reels, snapping out my phone, having, say, like my camera just there, show the scene that the car's in, and talk about the settings that I'm using, and then after that, jump onto CapCut and do a before and after and post it.
Yeah.
Away you go. That's it. Yeah. I was talking to Ben last night just about that in a Zoom call too.
Yeah, it's great because like I've had conversations with him, and one of the things that he really likes about talking about like what gear he's using, when he says like, hey, I'm shooting on the A6700 with this lens. That's also like a really nice warm up when it comes to conversing with a camera. Because sometimes when you start talking to camera, you get like this really weird, I do get like this very weird monotone kind of like sounded voice. But like a really good way to kind of like break the ice and get your vocals ready is just talk about what camera you're using. You do not know how many times people ask me in the comments what camera I'm using, even though in every single post, I put the gear that I use in the post, like in the caption. So that's a really great exercise. And then, like what Ben does, other people have done. Like the POV content, some of the things that he talks about, other people have done it. It's just, it comes from him instead of those other people. So there is a book that's literally called Steal Like an Artist. Everybody references it. If you ever want to read it, if you want to be a book nerd like me, read it, because it'll help you out a lot. But yeah, and Ben's great at that. So cool. Well, anything else you guys got? You've got some really great questions, so I appreciate it so far.
I was just wondering, so when I'm looking on, like, I've been looking on my own page there, and I'm doing research on what's engaging, what's not. So when I have looked at reels, so for instance, obviously this is a heavy focus going forward. So I've had 172, 278, and then I get 5,776, 320, 1,176. Then it jumps to 2,557. Then it drops to 877, down to 215, 317. Then the latest one's down to just 84. So it's, I think one of the things that I've sort of been using, and so I've been invited to give background to the type of edits that I've been doing. I've been breaking down sort of some of the questions that I've been getting. So my latest reel was basically on feedback that I got. It was basically said to me, because I do multiple subjects, so this is a really good part in what I was wanting to break down is, so I explained in the reel was my art is an expression of me. An artist can make art in any form. I show my via photos, and then it's just like a montage of the different genres of photos that I take, some of the photos that I've taken, and then at the end of it, I'm asking them which one they like. I don't know if it's perhaps in the video description that it's breaking down, because I've seen similar videos that are getting a lot more engagement in this. Peers of mine that are posting similar content, they're getting the same content more or less, but they're putting it in the same phrase. But they've reached the word like 5,000, 6,000, and we have a similar following. So I'm trying to gauge, is it really in the description of the video that I'm missing out on? Is it the hashtags that I'm missing out on? Is it the subjects? It's a bit all over the place, where I'm showing before and afters of the edits and stuff like that. And some of it's hitting, some it's not. So I'm trying to gauge, really and honestly, on the description, which I like to give in a description of what it is that I'm doing. Editing doesn't. When you look at it, things like that, it just sort of breakdowns of what I've been doing, how I've been doing it, what I've been using to do it. So some of it's hitting, some of it's missing. So I'm just curious. If, for instance, creating it as an art of expression is the latest one that I put out. Art is an expression of your personality. Thoughts and interests of the form of the art that you choose as an individual, as you are your person. Only you can share your vision, your story, and share it. Feedback is you don't know what you're doing, and you're just another lost artist. I share my art and how I do it. So I feel like it's too far. The video descriptions getting lost, if that makes sense. But
yeah,
when I've put them shorter, it's not getting when I have put a shorter video description, like 24 hours photo editing challenge, free photographers bringing their own style to the edit. That was on an owl that I shot. And I had two other photographers in an hour, 24 hours, edit them, send it back to me, and post the reel. So again, it's another great idea. We've been doing that as well. It's just not gauging. So if I'm doing short, snappy ones or long, there's no gauge for me there. That makes sense?
Yeah. So a couple things. With the one that you had 5,776 views. So this was a trend that popped off a while back. And it does still gain a little bit of traction. And I think it's because it's very shareable. So when those people that those people who participate in that, they're sharing that with people. They're sharing it to the story, they're sharing it to group chats. It doesn't show me the shares on it for some reason. You might be in an area where it's restricted. It doesn't show me how many shares. You don't see that, do you, right?
No, I don't see that either. So I joined in the one that was 5,000 and odd. I joined in another one of because I'm part of a group of creators, so we're helping each other and backing each other. That was his original post, and I can see that it got 5,706 pounds, but we've broken it down. And then the two that I broke down, that I done a part 1 and a part 2 on, I can tell you the insights to that just now. So the accounts reach was 623, not a lot. The followers was 10.8, non-followers 89.2, plays was 1,177, initial was 813, replays 364. Watch time is 2 hours and 21 seconds. Average watch time is 8 seconds. The likes are 46, comments 21, and saves were 1. And the video duration is less than 30 seconds. So again, what the thought process behind breaking up the two edits, so these again were two photos that I snapped off at Goodwood, was to keep them nice and short, keep them engaging, because I know that people attentions, they're not really, I think it's similar to what you were saying, it's quick, it's snappy, people can really engage with them, whereas the second one popped off and get 2,557. So I've tried using that in the same way, inviting the similar creators to do the same thing, and it's just dropped off, if that makes sense. So I'm not really sure where that engagement's going, how it's getting pushed out stuff. I just feel like the content that I'm now creating is not really serving the community that I built and what is there. So clearly there is an appetite for it. The people that are engaging with me are really positive. So the feedback that I get as well around the post that I'm creating, there's no worry about the quality of the content photo-wise, but it seems like when it comes to reels, it's fallen off a little bit. So I'm just wondering, is it the description? Is it, do I need to rethink the actual reels and stuff that I'm creating? It's quite hard to engage.
Yeah. So what I would say about the hashtags, they're not as important anymore as they used to be. That's come directly from Instagram. I think even Adam Mosseri, is it Adam?
Yeah.
Mosseri said so himself in interviews where like the hashtags don't really matter that much anymore. You can still use them, obviously, because people can still discover things by hashtags. But for the description, the issue is that a lot of people won't read it too much unless you've got a really good like first sentence. Like that first little bit of line right before it goes into the ... like that is really what's going to make people to click like to see more. But what I like about your description in the most recent post that you made, like that's a really good script to do like a talking head video. It's an opinion of your own, and it's a very strong one at that. And so if you share that same opinion with other people and you create a video where you're talking about that, you're going to likely reach that kind of audience that would agree with you. And you can do it however you want. You can do it where you're showing off the same kind of photos as you're doing the talking head. You can do it where like, hey, you do the talking head, maybe you have some B-roll of you taking photos. You can reuse that same context and put it into a new video and see how that lands. Same goes with any other ones. If you're really good, it sounds like you're a really good writer because I'm reading the description myself and I think it's well written. Reuse it, revamp your content and try using it in a different format, because at this point you're experimenting. You're gonna have a lot of things that don't hit, and then you're gonna have a few things that do hit well. It's all a roller coaster. If you even look at mine, here, I'll share my screen because it'll probably be easier. And when I say share my screen, I gotta do this. Okay, you guys can see my stuff? Cool. So the issue I've dealt with recently is similar. Now, you can see, I've got 18.8 thousand views, etc. But then there's some that don't even get above 10,000 views. And this is a very common occurrence in everybody's journey. You're going to have videos that suck. Like this one's got 3,100 views. I've got one down somewhere that was very, very small, but that's going to happen. And the views themselves, I would highly suggest not caring too much about it, especially if you're experimenting, because stuff like my talking head videos, that's experimentation and they're not doing well in terms of like metrics. The message that you're putting across though is what's important. And if you get good engagement, like if that's what you can work on, is working on the engagement. If people are resonating with your content and they're leaving comments or they're saying, hey, thank you so much for sharing this, this really helped me, that's what's the most important. Because at that point, you're building the community. The stuff that you posted, like this one, like this is trend hopping stuff. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not sustainable, because you're gonna have to constantly, at least for this one, you're gonna have to constantly find people who are willing to do it with you, which I'm sure you'll find plenty of people eventually, but that's something that's gonna kind of die off as a trend. But when you have stuff like this caption is a great caption that you can use for a script in a video. So I would repurpose that, put it in a new video and repost it and see what that does for you. And speaking of reposting, this video right here that has 86,000 views, I reposted that 5 times. So if you've done content in the past that has done well, reuse it. There's nothing wrong with it. The 86.7 thousand views I got on this is nowhere near what I got the original time, which as I scroll through here, you'll see it pop up again. There it is again, 223,000 views. That's way more. Go a little bit further, 314,000 views. That's 3 times now it's been posted. And if I keep going, it'll pop up again, 811,000 views. See a trend here? Like it's still getting good traction. And then here's the original one, 3.2 million views. So in this one video, I've gained millions of views posted over the course of like 4 or 5 times. This one video alone did super well because it hit the right audience at the right time. And the audio I used was just released, so my video got populated on the audio page. So there are gonna be times when videos hit really well and you're gonna get that reach. But then there's other times the same exact video was posted 4 or 5 times, but as it was getting reposted, the numbers started going lower and lower and lower. You're not always going to get the same amount of views with the same content over and over again. So what's important is you take what works, double down on it for sure, but experiment. And then if something doesn't work from that, just try tinkering with it a little bit and changing that up. And don't focus too much on the views. I think that if you focus on those views, you're really going to get discouraged. You want to create something that you want to watch. Because if you're creating what you want to watch, you're going to find other people who want to watch it as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because it's a really good terminology I'm going forward with. My light just went there. Sorry. It's called creating evergreen content, which is something that's really important to me. So that rather than trend hopping, as you said, it dies out. Rather than that, I would be more like searchable content. If it's like you said, this is a main focus over on YouTube, obviously. It kind of goes into Instagram as well. Creating evergreen content so that it's relatable how many ever years down the line. And I think at Think Media, we're really good at doing that. So like they have videos that are 6-7 years old and it's still getting engagement. So yeah, definitely it is. I think that what the issue for me initially was, because I'm trying to gauge what's hitting and seeing what the audience is wanting. I think that you said that it's part of building up the audience and getting the community. Once you build that, it's easier because you can just ask them. I think that the pain point for me and others will be, what is the audience looking for?
Yeah, and the audience is always going to change what they want to see over time. So as long as you have a pulse on the community and what it is that they really like watching, you get that through your comments. That's why engagement, like comment engagement, is very important. If somebody messages you and says, hey man, I've really resonated with this, thank you so much, keep that mental note, because your audience, as it grows, you'll get more diverse of an audience. And there's some people, like when I post my motivational stuff where I use like motivational audio or whatever, like it's cheesy. And don't get me wrong, like it's not the greatest thing to do ever, but there are people who really resonate with that, even though I'm not the one saying it or I'm not the one writing that script, you know? And I'll get people who will message me and be like, hey man, like that was very powerful. I really needed to hear that. That feedback driven community is going to help you along the way. It's just getting that community at first. So I would say trend hopping's fine. Don't focus too heavily on it. Focus on provide as much value as you can into your content. And you've got really great examples from Ben and other creators that you follow. Just do something like what they do to start out with and start building that community. Because once you become the source of truth or the source of learning for other people, they'll constantly want to come back. And those reels are primarily being shown to non-followers. So when you post out that video and you're not getting a lot of views, it's more than likely because the people who saw it up front just didn't resonate with it, and then it kind of fell flat. So don't be discouraged, just keep doing it. Out of the 370 some odd videos, actually it's way more than that, almost 400 videos I posted in the last year, I've had 4 go viral. And when I say viral, I mean like a few 100,000 views and that one 3.2 million view. So it's going to take a lot of reps. And so, I think, like I said earlier, I think you're on the right track. Just don't get discouraged. Don't focus on the views. Make what you want to make, what you would want to watch, because the whole reason why you're doing this is because you're passionate about it. If you start trying to focus too hard on like, how can I get the most views? How can I get the most followers from this? Like you're going to burn out. Yeah.
I think one of the messages that Ben shares with us guys in the private community is sometimes you need to eat a bit before you're going to get success. You're going to do that for about 12 months to 24 months, and then you just take the reps. You've got to take the repetition of, you're going to keep posting quite a lot of stuff. Some it will hit, some it won't hit. For him, it popped off with his video where he was explaining, and somebody says, all your videos are tutorials. All his posts are tutorials and stuff. And he's like, he says, but if he hadn't put in all the work prior to that in the background, then he probably wouldn't have had the business success that he's been able to build off the back of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That video that I showed that popped off, I had over 300,000 people go to my profile within 4 days. And when people see a video like that, they're like, okay, is this guy legit? They'll go to your profile, they'll see all the stuff that you've done previously, like, holy shit, this guy's been doing it for a while. That's exactly what happened to Ben. Like he was going at it for a long time. And then all of his videos from the past started taking off as well as a result of that one video. So to your point, there's a sense of evergreen content in Instagram. It's not designed the same way as YouTube. So nobody's going to scroll for 5 minutes to go back and see what you did 6 months ago, which is also why you're able to repost content. Like I posted that one 5 times. And some people may have known that I reposted it. Most people won't though. So yeah, awesome.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for the awesome questions and appreciate it. Michael, hi, welcome in. Also, by the way, before you blurred your background, I saw you had a grid life flag. Huge fan. I didn't get that one this year. I bought it for my friend. I already got one from like the previous years. So which one did you get it from?
I went to Joliet Autobahn for that one. So I was at the Midwest.
Okay.
I wanted the TAC one, but they actually sold out. So I had to get this one next year. There's always next year for the next one. So
Yeah. There's always, I got 2. One of them I didn't like. It's like a very narrow rectangle and it's got all these loops around it. It's a little weird, but then I got a drift one last year and I really like it. So I go to the one in South Haven.
Nice. Super cool. I didn't see the rectangle one this year. It just had 2 little banners and I was like, I got to get one for my room. I needed it. So
yeah, absolutely. So what's up, man? What do you got for me?
I was just curious to see, I mean, I'm not sure if everyone else got like your backstory already since I'm joining a little late, but I just wanted to get an understanding on like your thoughts on how you network. I mean, I'm taking it from like just starting off with a job kind of experience, like networking from that versus like networking on things that like basically relate to social media or how that pertains to photography, videography. Since like I was telling you, I'm newer to videography. I like cars. I like doing photography, but this is something different. So it's like you got to work with the customer basically in a way that's, I would say, similar, but also different from photography since I'm new to that. But just trying to get an understanding of like what you think is the best way to go about with networking. Just, and I know you were talking about views and everything with reels and everything, but just even like getting that follower attraction as well, just to see like people start realizing your work and what you're actually putting forth and what you enjoy putting out too. So
the way I approach my networking is very similar to my networking in photography follows the same networking I do in my day job. So one of the biggest things I learned when I went to school, because I went to school for business, learned about everything from taxes, supply chain management, business law, the most generic degree you could get. One of the biggest things I learned though was about communication. And there's a book, my dad is a salesperson for his entire career. There's a book he read that's called How to Make Friends. I never personally read it, but in that book, I believe the premise was like treating your clients as if they are your friend is the best way to kind of sell them on what it is that you offer. And so when I am working with anybody, I always try to find common ground. And that could be very simple. Like for instance, if you are talking to a car enthusiast and you want to take pictures of cars, congratulations, you guys like cars. You can talk to them about their car. Ask them, like, what's the story behind this car? How did you come about buying it? What do you love the most about it? Start having that conversation about them. You'd be surprised how much people love talking about themselves if you just ask them. And a great way to do that is ask them open-ended questions. Like the whole, how'd you come about getting this car? What's the story behind it? Those are open-ended questions. That's going to force them to talk more and you're going to learn more about them. You're going to figure out like what their likes are, what their dislikes are, etc. This is a method I used when I was a manager and I had to hire people at my previous job. I always follow the mantra of like a 70-30 split. 70% of the time, I want them to be talking. 30% of the time, I'm going to talk. So I ask them an open-ended question. They give me their story. I pick something from that and say, oh, you got this from an auction 25 years ago. What led you to that point? Why did you want to look for this car at that auction? You can start picking from their own answers and ask them more open-ended questions. When you build that rapport with your client, they're more likely going to become a warm lead rather than a cold lead. So if you're just coming out of the gate like, hey man, I do photos, like let's work together. It's gonna be a very hard sell for you. But if you get to know them, you soften them up a little bit, it's easier to say, hey, you know what? I really love this car. You seem like a really great guy to work with. I do this photography stuff on the side. I would love the opportunity to work with you. And when you say it like that and you say like, I would love that opportunity to work with you, it makes them feel more empowered as a person. Like, wow, somebody actually wants to deal with me, you know, like, oh, my wife doesn't even want to deal with me. You know, I've had somebody say that to me once, and it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to answer that, but you know, like, you give them the opportunity to explain themselves, their story, and then you tell them like, hey, I would love to shoot your car. That has always worked well for me. And if you have a portfolio already, whether it's a small one or a large one, you can just show them like, hey, I've got this work. I do this on the side of my day job, and I would love to shoot your car and add it to my portfolio. And other times they'll just ask you like, oh, do you do photography? They'll ask you that question, then you can show them your portfolio. But networking at public events is usually the hardest for some people. I'm an introvert, so it's very hard for me to approach people. But again, when you find that common ground or that common interest, it makes the conversation a little bit easier.
Got it. You know, I just wanted to get your side because, I mean, like I said, I'm starting off with it, and I wanted to understand how it would apply because I like talking. I can easily do interviews with stuff. But when it came to like photography or anything like this, just even like video editing, everyone saw my equipment when I was at Grid Life, for example, and they're like, where's this going? Like, who are you? And I'm just like, I just do it for fun. And they were just like, oh, okay. And then I would just tell them like, hey, I'm going to make a video edit for you. If you'd like it, you can collab on it. Sure enough, a few people did, and it started off strong, which is good. And I'm happy that it did because I was like, oh, people are kind of liking what I'm already starting off with doing. So I'm kind of on the right track right now, but I don't want to, like you were saying, I don't want to focus just on the reels. I want to, like the reel count. I want to see photos and videos and things that I like to create and post it on there as well. But also like try to build that bond with people so that they would want to come back if I were to do more for them.
Yeah. So the work that you do for other people, you'll sometimes get people who come back and want to do more work. And that all really depends on the relationship that you have with them. Like you can send photos to somebody and never hear from them again. I mean, that's just going to be normal. But whatever kind of work that you're providing, whether it's video, photo work, or if you're doing free or paid, you know, whatever, give them as good of experience as physically possible. And then if you give them the high level of experience, they're likely going to want to work with you again, or they're likely going to refer you to somebody. Do you mind sharing me your Instagram handle or like a link to your profile so I can take a look at it? I think that the work that you do with those people, and you're saying, hey, like I do this on the side, I would love to do this work for you. Like that's a great approach, because then you're going to get the experience. And then when you post those reels, you're obviously going to get a lot of reach from the reels. Oh, cool. I already follow you. So when you do this, let me just see your stuff real quick.
No, you're all good. Most of this is like just starting off. Like Grid Life itself was just when I actually got the video equipment. Prior to that, it was just me using my phone. So.
Yeah. And the BMW from Grid Life, I shot that car. I don't know who the owner is. I shot it because it was like in the pit, and I was like, oh, that's a cool car. Yeah, I think the reels that you're doing are pretty cool. They're quick, they're snappy, they are eye candy for people, especially the kind of cars that you're shooting. I would say that doing photos and video are very difficult to do at the same time. So I would suggest that if you're doing video for somebody of their car, try to get some photos in there and just post that as a carousel. It doesn't have to be anything super crazy. Like you can just take like 10 photos, edit them up and throw them up there, because a lot of people wanted to admire the photos themselves. If you, I'm trying to think, I think with videos, it's very tough to turn that into something that your followers will see, because they're primarily driven towards non-followers. So I would just suggest trying to do photos if you're also wanting to do video. It's very hard, but you could do it.
Oh, definitely. It's insightful. It's all stuff that I want to hear and understand about just gaining that. So. Yeah,
and what you can also do too, you could do a kind of like a two-step approach. If you primarily offer video and you want to just primarily offer video, that's fine. But if you want to do both and you don't want to do it all at the same time, do the video as kind of like a teaser of what you have to offer for the client. And then when they see that video, if they like it, come back to them and say, hey, if you like this, I would love to offer you photos as well. Do you want to set up a time to do a photo shoot? That's also a really good way to kind of retain your clients if you give them that kind of teaser. So like when I go to a Cars and Coffee event, I'll take pictures of a car, and if I talk to the owner, I'll tell them, hey, I got some photos of your car. I'll send them to you when I'm done. And I won't ask for anything in exchange. I'm just like, I'm going to send you these photos and I hope you like them. And when I send them those photos and they're like, holy crap, I love these pictures. Like, these are the best pictures I've ever had. I will then follow up and say, would you like to do a one-on-one shoot together? Like, I only got this many photos of your car, but I would love the opportunity to shoot your car privately. And that has turned into a second shoot. Like the one I just finished editing yesterday was a 911. I shot the guy's car at a car event. And he was like, hey, do you do this? And I was like, yeah, I do this on a regular basis. Let's set up a time. So you could try doing that. I know with Grid Life, I mean, obviously those guys probably live in different states, but like in your own area, if you offer video primarily, and then you want to also do video photos, you can try it that way as well. But I would also think too that it's going to be difficult because I've tried doing it 2-in-1 and I'm not very good at video. So it's very hard for me to just kind of like flip the switch and like, all right, get my gimbal out, let's do this. But yeah.
I guess I have another follow-up question. So when you're basically working with someone, for example, like what I've done so far, that one BMW, the guy, I just talked to him for like maybe 10 seconds at most, like, hey, can I record your car? Sure. All right. And he was working on the car. I was just filming and going at it. And then after that, I didn't really talk to him much after that because I didn't see him. He was out racing. And I just sent like an invite to collab. And it so happened that he accepted it. Do you think just sending that collab is something smart to go right off the bat with? Or do you think I should just send them something and have a watermark like over it and then say like, hey, you want to collab on this post? Like, what's the best, I guess the word would be like introductory with that person then once you have that set photos or videos, whatever.
So are you trying to do where you get paid from doing it, or you just want to give it to them? Like, are you just talking about delivery in general?
Yeah, I guess just delivery.
So for the video aspect of it, the positive that you get out of doing the collaboration posts is if they have a following, they'll also see it. And if your work is great, which it is, then they'll likely go to your page and follow you. So collaboration posts are really good. I personally don't do them very often because I'm very particular about what collaboration posts I do. So like I've had previous clients where they will share the same photos I've already shared and try to collaborate with me on it. And I just tell them like, hey, I already got this. Don't worry about it. Just use that for yourself. But I'll do videos. Like I did, here I got a great example. I did a video of the same 911 I was just referencing. And I did the same thing where I collaborated with him. It was the video where I did a 3-stack. Oh wait, it's way further back. Sometimes I forget how long ago it was. So this video, I did a collaboration with the local organizer and then the person who owns it. And so when you look at this local organizer, they have 12,500 followers. In comparison to how many I have, it's small, but out of those 12,500 followers, there's definitely people in there that don't follow me. And then wow, it put me all the way back up there. And then the person who owns it, his name is Mirza, really nice dude. This guy has only 905 followers, but he knows a lot of people who own Porsches, right? So the work I've done for him versus work that other people have done with him, you can see he gets put on a lot of posts. All of his followers, all of his friends, all of his coworkers are gonna see that same post. So I think that's a good method to do it for video. For carousels, you can also do that too. I think collaborative posts are very good to do it. When it comes to photos, I just send them the photos in a gallery link. And it's like, hey, here you go. All of my photos do have a watermark on it, just FYI. But I make it so subtle that you can't tell it's there unless you know what you're looking for. So if you're going to do a watermark, I place mine down in the bottom right-hand corner. So like if I go to export this, I'm clicking on the wrong screen. I was clicking on my Zoom screen. It's been a long day. When I give my finals, I always click include watermark on this, and then it'll load and you'll see it down here in the right-hand corner, right there. Very faint. The opacity, I think, is at like 10. No. Where's my opacity? Oh, it's at like 1. So that's what I do. And then that way it's very difficult for them to see, but it's protected. Right. Some people do like right in the middle and they make it very, very noticeable. Personally, I think it ruins the photo. But every photo I deliver to my clients, it has got a watermark. And the way I deliver it, if you're curious, is I use a service called PixieSet. And the nice thing about PixieSet is you get it for free for 3 gigabyte of storage, which I am maxed out. So when you go and look at the photos, if you were to preview this, you'll see that they have watermarks on them so that people can't just steal your photos. But when you download them, they disappear. I think delivering photos using a service like Pixieset is the most professional way to go about it. I used to do it with Google Drive. I would upload them to a Google Drive folder, send it to the person, whatever. But I've had so many people come back to me from this and say, dude, this is professional. Like, this is amazing. When it comes to the free service, it's great. I don't like the storage limitations. So what I'll do to save myself money, I'll tell them, hey, I'm going to leave this up for 2 weeks for you to download it, and then I'm going to take it down. And so then I'll delete it. But you get notified once they actually download it. Oh my gosh, no, I want to go back to my home screen. So you'll get notification like this shows it's been downloaded, and you can see the notifications here. So once I know somebody's downloaded the entire gallery, I can just delete it. You can pay for it. It's not, I don't think it's that expensive, but when you're just starting out, I would just do the free version and just delete them after a couple weeks. Give them some time to download them and then delete them. But use this service 100% for delivery when it comes to your photos. I think you can also do it with video. I've never uploaded video to Pixieset, but you can try it out. Video would eat up your storage really fast though.
Yeah.
And then I'll show you the way I do it too, my messaging, and then I'll leave it there. So this is my message to everybody. This is pretty much how I do it. I tell them like, hey, here's your pen. There's a watermark. Don't worry, it'll go away. They're formatted for online use, but if you want them printed, let me know. That opens up the door to future opportunity to sell them a print. So if you took a really awesome photo, like, hey, I want a print of this, can you help me out? That leads you into another opportunity to sell them something if you want. And then just, again, rethink them for the opportunity to shoot their car. And that's it. You just leave it at that. There's not much to it.
Super cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Let me get off of this screen. Awesome. I know those are like long-winded answers. So like, feel free to let me know if I'm not hitting the points here.
It definitely helped with just getting resources started off. So if I got anything else, I'll bounce you.
Yeah, absolutely. So while I have you guys here still, if you don't have any other questions, I'm going to give a little blurb and then we can probably end it there. This is all a very new experience for me. So having these calls, I'm obviously going to get better at them as time goes on. So you guys just being here in general is super helpful. These questions that you're asking me are also super helpful. This is also like kind of tying into the whole idea earlier that I was mentioning, crowdsourcing your ideas for content from your community. So you guys are playing your part in that in this community by crowdsourcing for me. And so I think these are all very good questions, and I think you guys have a lot of skill. So I appreciate your guys' time and also appreciate you joining the community because I've never done that before. I don't know how it's going to go. So my ask is always going to be anything you think that can be valuable for the community, let me know. My DMs are open. There's only 27 people. Yeah, like 27 people in this community. It's a very tight-knit community. And anything that you have to offer, like Steven had a great idea that he offered the other day, I think it's valid. I think that would be awesome to provide for people because this is a paid community at this point. Like if somebody wants to come in, they want to learn from any of us, they want to get resources from us, it is a paid community. We want to make sure that it's worth their time and worth their money at that point. So anything that you guys have to offer as far as like advice, feedback, anything that you would like to see, obviously, because there is going to be exclusive content that gets put into this community. It could be like tutorials, courses, etc. Let me know because you guys are in very different stages of your own journey versus my stage. And I just want to hear from you. So if you guys got any other questions or anything like that.
I was going to ask you real quick. So I know you're big on Instagram. I didn't see what your TikTok like follower count was. Was that something you started later just to try to promote the media that you've been creating basically to, especially like with the community stuff too, or?
My TikTok, first off, I know it exists. Don't do that to me. My TikTok
That's
actually,
at first.
Yeah, it's actually kind of grown a little bit recently. It was very stagnant for a while. And then I had one video that kind of did well. Oh, it was the one with TJ Hunt at Grid Life. That's what it was. Because I post everything on Instagram is also on here. This one that got 14,000 views. That's the most views I've ever gotten on TikTok. and I don't think it's ever gonna get better than that. I actually have contemplated stepping away from TikTok because one, in the US, they're trying to ban it. But also I just don't have like let's see here, let's go. I don't have like the passion for it. But for YouTube, this has been doing fairly well, but it's primarily been from shorts, which that's a whole different animal. And when you start building an audience from just your short form content, you get a very polarized audience, which sucks. So I've been trying to do more long form video there. I would suggest if you were curious about like doing multi-platform, focus on one for right now. Just try and build it up, figure out what works. And then when you start building the other platform, just repost all your content there. Because that's what I did on YouTube and TikTok. I just posted the same content to get it up to speed. And you already will know what works at that point. So if it works well on Instagram, it may work on TikTok, it may work on YouTube, but each of those platforms are very different. So you're gonna run into situations where, for instance, if you repost any video on YouTube, you will get absolutely axed at the kneecaps. They will not show it to anybody. And I think it's because it's a search-based platform. And if they see the same video more than once, they're gonna know like, oh, this already exists. We're not gonna show this. I've run into that, so I stopped reposting on YouTube because of that. And then TikTok, it's usually pretty quiet when it comes to photography, unless you know how to dance or sing. I don't know how well you're gonna do on there. I like to say to be platform agnostic. Don't feel like you have to be married to one. Some people try out on Instagram, they don't like it as much, but then they go to YouTube and they love it way more. And it depends on the kind of content that you're making. If it's more educational content and more long form content focus, YouTube is the best way to go. If you just want to show snapshots and give quick advice, Instagram's a great place to start. So I would start out with one, and then once you build it up to a good point, try out another one and see how it goes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I got one question for you guys. As far as like these types of calls, what do you think is a good like schedule? Would you say once a week, once bi-weekly, once a month? What would you guys think is a good cadence?
This is something for the whole community, correct? Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
Yeah, no, this will be for everybody. It'll just be a public event that anybody can join.
Honestly, I think however it goes with your schedule, there was some, I don't know, if you were to, here's like an idea, like the community, if it's like a holiday and you got some discount and you were like, hey, we're going to have more live Q&As at these set times during this time of the year. Even then, I think it just gives people an opportunity to show up if you had more of them, just because others have other schedules. But
yeah, absolutely. And then Stephen?
Sorry, I'm going to give you advice for Ben. What he experienced is, as you probably know, he's doing his own cohort and stuff like that. Be consistent, and this is going through it. So you're going to end up speaking to Ben. I'm one of Ben's students, by the way, in his cohorts.
I am as well. So yeah, I'm a student of his too. I just never joined the calls, unfortunately.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you in the? So you'll see me posting. Are you in the Discord?
Yeah. I was gonna say I've recognized your name. So I've been in a cohort with Ben as a student, and I've been one of his students. So I've been on both sides of the table with him.
Tom Noski,
yeah. Tom Noski's.
Yeah. So like basically, Ben noticed that like when he was away. So like I said, I've just got off the call yesterday, like because he went to Europe and stuff. So what we found and what he found was it was a bit all over the place. But what we found was what he came back with was consistency of, say for instance, so the same time, the same day is very important. I think that also gives an expectation of people. So like setting up an expectation of, so what we call it, as you're probably well aware, is setting the expectation of people showing up to help themselves. So it's going to help them. So when I'm talking to like Ben on a Tuesday and then I'm jumping in with you on like a Thursday, that gives me a time period if I have an idea between then, try it, see it, and then come back to you. Again, as well, drawing different inspiration and drawing from different areas is really one of the places that consistency back of feedback as well. So I don't know if you look in the school community that Ben posted, I would really advise jumping into that. You'll see where he's also timestamped the latest video, and it just says like, for instance, what topic was discussed. Again, just that similar to what you would do is caption, characterising each chapter on YouTube. So just using that so that if somebody wants to jump in some advice, given the description of the topic that was covered, that's very easy. I find that very helpful. He just did that last night. And I know people that went back into it tomorrow, watched it today and went into it, and people that will go in tomorrow, I've already been able to tell them, well, if you go to here, here's the bit that they maybe asked in the Discord about, and it's already answered. So again, that would maybe save you as well from repeating yourself as well. Mm-hmm. So having references and using like a context of it goes back to actually, I think this goes back to the fact that I want to do education, is using it as sort of the way of this is this week on week and this is what was covered, so that you can then have it set as a table context, similar to the idea that I said about sharing a folder. Have it so that the context of the actual discussion is covered, so that then they can watch it back if they don't have time to have a conversation, have a follow-up with them as well about how it's going, what the issues is, and then also connecting that into the previous would probably be really helpful.
That's great. I appreciate that, because I know like when I am looking at something on YouTube, I love those chapters because it's like, well, I know how to do all this. I just want to know this. So yeah, I will definitely take a look at his stuff, because again, I haven't joined any of his calls. I feel like a terrible student, and I'll just piggyback off of what he's been doing, because I really like that structure. So thank you for that, Stephen. Yeah, I think what I'm going to try and do, because I have this time on this day, I'll probably do it on Wednesdays at this same time, but I know some people are in completely different time zones, so I'll probably have alternate times at some point, but I'm thinking of doing it weekly. If you think weekly is going to be beneficial for yourselves or anybody else in the community, I like to try that out, depending on how many are in there. Because like I said, there's only 27 of us in here at the moment, so I was also considering doing it bi-weekly. I don't know if Ben does his weekly or does them bi-weekly, but I was jumping between the two, and I just didn't know which one would make the most sense.
So Ben does his weekly. So he's a weekly. So basically on the school form, he'll ask a question, if we have any questions. He'll then do a tutorial on maybe somebody might have asked, do a demonstration, and then he'll do like a checkup on each person. So obviously as the group grows and grows, there's 105 people in there at the moment in his, which is a lot of people. There are only 27 here. What I would say, if you're thinking about doing bi-weekly, again, some people are going to be hitting this. They're not always going to show up weekly. So you're going to have people that are just coming in and out. So again, he makes a note of where everybody is, like in a little notebook, which is really easy for you. Notion's probably an easier way of, I don't know if you use it. Mm-hmm. Just keep a character note of that. That way that it's not going to eat up a lot of time for you as well. So again, I think that it's worth asking everybody where they're at, and having one of the things that I think is probably a great idea is having people like yourself help people like myself. So like you mentioned earlier on, there's people behind me which I'm going to start feeding into, and that's the people that I want to start bringing up so that they can learn how to do what I do. So again, that's probably a good model for going forward with the quote with this as well. That way that you can know, right, okay, I can't answer this. There's X, Y, and Z that can go there. And so having people that you can rely on, that you know where their journey is, and have them relate back as well. And so that feeds into the collaboration as well, about working with other creatives. Again, it expands, like if you're gridlocked in a location, where you're not surrounded by creatives, it gives you an outreach to be able to actually access our creatives and learn from them as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So he sends out a questionnaire that asks like your skill level on is it on a Notion form, or is it when you join the community?
So Ben asked us all when we joined. So as you're joining the call, we'll make a note of where you are. And obviously there's a bit of self-accountability for this as well. So like when I joined the cohort 1, I had 40 followers, and all of a sudden I'm up to 346. So clearly if he's, since joining Ben's thing with and implementing the advice that was there, taking the advice on and seeing that growth, it's about self-accountability as well. So screenshotting where you were at, and then keeping a track of that as well. That way that reminds you where they're at as well. So if people are jumping in and out of the calls, like as you said, if we have people that have dropped off for like 6 weeks and then popped back in and they're like, oh, by the way, this isn't working. And you're like, well, if you had showed up to like the calls and listened to the bi-weekly and the advice that's on offer weekly, if you're showing up weekly for it, then you're obviously going to advance quicker than what you do if you just drop off and come back in and out. So again, it alleviates a bit of it for you as well, because I think that there is a certain element that Ben talked about, which was some people rely too much on like the templates and stuff like that, right? It was a great example. So like he said that he didn't want to just create templates and hand them out to us. He wants us to learn how to do it. But yeah, that is it, exactly it. It's about reverse engineering how that person actually done it. So again, in the calls, that's where the tutorials is helpful. Whereas I think he got a bit confused. People were wanting handouts of things like that. But also I think that if it is something as simple as a template, like how to create a carousel, yeah, provide it. But that's what I was talking about with having the templates and also the video to explain it. So that actually breaks down the two of them. So it actually mitigates them relying on you, and that way that you can have accountability to, and you can know what's working and what's not working. It allows you to also see what's working in your end. It is somebody that's teaching. I'm also mentoring at the moment in a college. So at the moment, I'm looking at the results that students are bringing to me versus what I've taught them. And then I'll go out and I say, well, did you implement this? And if they haven't, then being able to say, well, because you didn't do this, but you obviously life happens, people break away, things happen. It's about giving you as well, because it's been stressful running a cohort and expectations, big people, helping everybody as well. So you don't want to burn yourself out also. So that way it just builds the expectation. And people have been talking today about how'd you post, how'd you get on editing. A great thing that I tell my students is the 1, 2, 3 method. Get it off the SD card and then get it onto the killing and then get edited. 1, 2, 3, and then if you set aside, say, an offload, just do that in the afternoon. So say it's a Friday afternoon, you're not doing anything, you've got 2 hours, offload it there and then. Once it's off, and once you've done it, you've done it. It's just, as you said, making time barrier. And if you are struggling with file structure, just name it what it is, exactly what it is that you've done. File name the camera is the time and date, and then access it. That way, if you don't have time to edit it, you can always research it easier to access it as well. That way that you're keeping really good file management, and before you know it becomes good practice, as I'm sure you're probably already doing. And just it's small steps. It's breaking down small steps. Again, I think that's something in the community was I'm helping other people that are creatives within that are struggling with photography, learning it. They're not fully adapted to learning how to use the camera. So I'm offside helping them in the background. So it's about accountability as well as you and them, if that makes sense. That will relieve a bit of you as well, because I can see you're really talented at what you do, and obviously this is going to grow. So it's about also thinking about how sustainable it is for you as well.
Right.
Like during holidays, I would say the expectation is that obviously holidays, it's take time off. You know what I mean? We all need life balance. Work-life balance is key.
Yeah, I
hope that helps.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, and I think everything that you're saying is all valid. I agree. Like starting it off now, getting it in that kind of structure that's more sustainable is going to determine the long-term success. So thank you for that. That's a lot of great information, and obviously you thought deeply about it as well for your own journey. So thank you for that. I'll definitely probably rely on you a little bit here and there to just kind of like help guide me, because I tell you what, man, I'm not a huge educator, so I will probably definitely appreciate your help along the way.
More than happy to help, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're all there. I just think that it comes naturally. Like, as you know, Ben was a lecturer. And like that's what drew me initially, Ben, was I liked the fact that I knew, and this goes to sort of the education of you know what you're talking about. You're the most confident person that knows what you're talking about, because at the end of the day, you know what they don't know, and the people that are coming to you for advice, they're coming to you for a reason. So you know exactly what it is that you need to do. You just need to go do it.
Yeah.
And just when you are thinking about talking one-to-one with people, just break it down to their level. Keep it concise. Keep it simple. The minute people start complicating stuff, and that is when everything goes weary.
Yeah, no, that's great stuff, man. Thank you. All right, Michael, you got any input, or Liam?
I was just going to say that weekly would be smart, especially if this community does grow to like a insane amount of people, like it just sparks. Like right now, you're giving each and every one of us input on whatever we've been presenting to you, and that takes up a bunch of time. And so within 2 hours, if you're dealing with 105 plus people, like you're not going to hit everyone's target, like, and what you need to just basically get done for each person. So, I mean, if you set time for tutorials or like actual like input and feedback on each person, I mean, those weekly meetings will help with people coming back just to see if they can jump in and say, hey, like, I need a chance to take a look at something. I think just like from my standpoint, because I'm just starting off with like the videography stuff. So like, I'm happy that I got in here and I got questions and answers, and now I'm going to take that and go research and do more with it now. It's just I'm getting input and feedback. That's great. But like then again, with 105 people, even if it was like a live stream or something, you're trying to type in the chat and get an answer from the person. It's going to just go right past you sometimes. And so you got to just like keep attempting. And I'm just trying to think of it from like my standpoint. So I think that weekly would help a bunch for just people in my shoes too, even. I think that's just beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I've got a good friend that does video work, Michael. He's in the group. Okay. His name is Lucas Irvine. Okay. He's actually local to me. So I'll hit him up and let him know that there's another video person in here. And he's a great resource because he used to work for a local media company. He actually just went off on his own as a freelancer. So he doesn't do car stuff primarily, but he's very skilled at video.
You know, anything with a still object, I'm happy to learn from. Like, any of that stuff is super cool. I mean, I put my stuff out in the introduction too, so you can see my posts there as well. You know, for sure, I'd love to get that connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll likely try and get him on as well as kind of like a resource because he's got a lot of experience in that as well. That's why I kind of said both photography and videography. So yeah. And I appreciate the feedback on the weekly thing. I think that makes a lot of sense too. Awesome. Liam, you got any input?
No, same thing. I love the idea of doing weekly. I think it's nice to like at least right now while it's small or like still like this is the first one. I don't know how many people. It was like 5, something like that. But I like how right now we are able to talk to you, and having that weekly, it's like throwing ideas at us and then coming back the next week and seeing if we've implemented them or trying to implement them. It's something I really like.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, cool. I do follow all of you guys as well, so I am going to keep track on your content and how things are going. So feel free, just let me know if you've got any questions. If you message me directly, I'll do my best to get back to you. Obviously, since it's a smaller community, it's a little bit easier for me to get back to you. It will be easier through school than on Instagram. So just use it because I get notifications from school currently. I turn off my notifications for Instagram so I don't get bombarded. But yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for this super productive phone call. It was great. And I'll start putting stuff up for the calls to be weekly. I will try and get this recording out in the next 2 days. Thursdays and Fridays, my wife works, so I'm taking care of our baby by myself. So it's a little bit more difficult. But once it's out there, I'll let everybody know it's out there. And even I will take up on your suggestions and I'll try and do the whole chapter stuff with that. So yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah, no.
That's another thing. Like, just take your time.
Yeah.
Like, boy as well. So
yeah,
I know it's like you're just like.
I'm so amped on this though. Like I'm like I would do it right now if I didn't have to go to bed. So I gotta get up early.
In the US?
It's almost 8 here, but I get up at like 6:30 in the morning. And I go for my run, and you know, my wife's got to get ready for work, so I gotta help out with the baby and stuff. So I got an early day tomorrow. So
it's 1 a.m. here.
Oh my gosh, you are a trooper, man! Yeah, you look like you look like you just had a cup of coffee though. Like you're ready for the day. Cool.
I'm used to late working. To be fair.
Yeah. Cool, awesome guys. Well, thank you so much for your time this evening or morning, and I will see you all later.
Thanks, Joe. Take care, man.
Thank you.
Thanks. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.